Ill Nation, what's going on with you guys, man? It's Kid Illest Truth in the building, and today we are looking at the pros and cons of each hero. It's going to be a quick, concise, really straight to the point type video. We got a bunch of new players. I know they dropped the game for free on Xbox for the entire month of August. They dropped the game for free on PC. Xbox getting the love. No love for PS4 yet. So we got a bunch of new warriors on the battlefield, so I want to make this quick little pros and cons for each hero in the games up to date. So let's go ahead and get to it, you guys. Let's get it. So starting this thing off with the Raider. The Raider is the Viking Vanguard. He wields a Dane axe, big brute, shirtless dude. You see him on the cover, you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, let's go ahead and look at some of the pros of the Raider, you feel me? So when we take time to look at the Raider, you got to understand, if you're getting light parries with this man, you are doing 45 damage to the top, you're doing 40 damage to the side with those hard hitting heavies, you guys. So when we take the time to look at his zone attack, it's coming straight from neutral, meaning that it's coming straight from nothing, and that creates instant pressure because it's unblockable. So if you're playing Raider and you have a lot of stamina to give out, make sure you're using that zone attack, because that is your one ace in the hole. That's your true opener. That gives you access to the stunning tap for mix-ups, that gives you access to guard breaks for punishes. So make sure you're using that zone attack if you're new to the game. Also, when it comes down to this dodge guard break ability, some new players might not know about this, but Raider is the only hero in the game that's able to actually dodge and guard break 200 milliseconds into his dodge, meaning that you're able to nullify a lot of mix-ups that utilize that guard break and they catch you in your dodge animation. So now you know, motherfucker. And to wrap up his pros, he has really good out of stamina game. You know, with that zone attack coming straight from neutral, it creates instant pressure. So you have to not be afraid to throw it sometimes. If you never throw it, they'll never fall for it. So make sure you're throwing that zone attack, ladies and gentlemen. So when it comes to the cons of the Raider, like I said before, he's very stamina taxing in his mix-ups. His neutral zone attack is taking half of his bar when he's doing it. Even though it's really good, you got to make sure you're watching your stamina when you're using his mix-ups, or you'll find yourself out of stamina, and you don't want that. Not in today's game with Conquerors running around. And also, his light attacks are really slow. They all come out at 600 milliseconds. So if you're making a habit of using your light attacks over and over again, eventually the enemy's going to pick up on it and start parrying them. So make sure you're mixing it up with your heavies. And also, if you're using those lights a lot and you throw out that hard hitting heavy, you might fuck around and catch them slipping and get that 40 damage, 45 damage in, you know what I mean? And also, make sure you're not predictable. A lot of Raiders are always throwing the heavy into the stunning tap mix up. Eventually, it's going to become predictable. They're going to start parrying that, getting those punishes on you. When you're playing Raider, make sure that you try to be as unpredictable as possible with the character. I understand he's not in a really good spot right now, but make sure that you're trying to mix it up. Oh my god, mix and match and mix ups, you guys. Hey, that's a tongue twister for you motherfuckers. Say that shit 10 times. Alright family, next up we got the Valkyrie. She is the hybrid of the Vikings, and I'm gonna go right to the chase. She got some very fast light chains, you guys, with the light finisher being able to wall splat. And speaking of wall splats, her unblockables now are pretty damn useful. So next time you get a nice little wall splat, make sure that you get a spear sweep that's guaranteed from a wall splat and get that nice little 35 damage instead of the regular heavy that you would go for based on the wall splat. And speaking of unblockables, she also has a nice little assault feint into unblockable that grants a free light attack. So when you take into account that she is a heavy assassin hybrid, she has a nice all guard being heavy, she has a nice dodge property and dodge lights, she has a deflect option. She's in a good spot, you guys. I really feel that she's in a good spot at the current point. So with the pros out of the way, oh yeah, she has a superior light property. Superior light attacks, man. Make sure you use them shits. I've seen Talon dealers like utilize the hell out of them. Make sure you're using them superior lights, man. Them shits are good. But with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the cons of the Valkyrie. So like a lot of other hybrids and pretty much all the assassins, she has a lower health pool of 120 HP. She's also on the very low end of the spectrum when it comes to heavy damage. Her heavy neutrals do 24 damage, and that's really low. That doesn't even guarantee an execution on a light parry. From what I'm hearing around the block is a lot of guys are missing a knockdown and a block frames of the all guard, but that comes with the rework, so I guess that is what it is. But yeah, man, that's Valkyrie, you guys. I feel that she's in a good spot, and I mean, I really think a lot of people are going to pick her up as new players start playing the game. And next up we got the Warlord. The Warlord is the heavy archetype of the Vikings. He has a sword and shield, the brute. And without further ado, let's go ahead and check out his pros, shall we? So when it comes to the Warlord, I'll put him in a pretty good category. You know, he has pretty good health pool, he has pretty good neutral opener, he has a pretty good parry punish, pretty good zone attack, pretty good neutral lights, he has a great out stamina pressure with the headbutt, or he can do the charging unblockable at you. He has superior light attack property on his light attacks, he has a great throw distance, he has static guard, so he's just pretty good in my opinion. Some people want to rework for him. I think he can use more chains maybe, but that's for a whole nother discussion. Let's go ahead and check out some of his cons. So unfortunately, like with Warlord, he reaches a point where he has delayed hyper armor on his heavies. Like it should, in my opinion, be automatic like Berserker or something. It's just weird that he has hyper armor, but it's so delayed into the attack. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And of course, like I said earlier, he doesn't really have a lot of chain, so he has very low mix-up potential. And then also with his all guard, it's pretty questionable at times. It's sometimes he can land the heavy, sometimes he doesn't. I know on heavies he can land the heavy and on lights he can't. But nonetheless, I think it could potentially be just something that's static, that's always the same, that's more consistent. But that's just my opinion on it. And that's Warlord, you guys. He's pretty good in my opinion. He's definitely not the worst on the list. He's definitely not the best, but I feel that he's in an okay spot. He can maybe use more chains, but let's keep this thing rocking. All right, next up we got the Berserker, and this is my main, so I know all about this thing. So let's go ahead and get to it, you guys. All right, so looking at the pros, you can see excellent hyper armor trading ability. That's a must. Make sure that you're getting those trades in with your opponent. So moving forward with the very high damage output, you have 33 to the side heavy, you have 38 to the top heavy. If you are landing those heavy attacks, you are going to win the fights. I'm telling you guys, trust me on this. And of course, how are you going to land those heavy attacks? Using the feint mix-ups, of course, man. You're going to have to use those feint mix-ups when you play Berserker. Of course, you're going to have to utilize those fast light attacks. You got 400 ms side lights, you got 500 ms top lights when you're using your feint mix-ups. And out of neutral, you have 500 ms side lights, you got 600 ms top lights. And of course, when all else fails, you have to have your unblockables to have your back, right? So any top heavy is an unblockable that's going to force a reaction. And also the third heavy in your bear mauler combo is unblockable. Make sure you're utilizing these unblockables to open your opponent up. And also, while we're speaking on unblockables, when it comes to Berserker's out of stamina game, it's pretty great. Make sure you utilize those unblockables to force a dodge, force a parry attempt. And also, Berserker has a really good deflect. Deflect automatically gives a guard break to Berserker, which grants you a free side heavy or a free wall splat, or hell, if you're a little cheeky bitch, you can get a free ledge on an opponent. So make sure you utilize that shit, man. So when it comes to Berserker's cons, there aren't really too many. Being an assassin, of course, you have reflex guard and lower health. And being the Berserker being like such with the axes, the twin axes, you have shorter range. And also Berserker, after the rework, has a lower stamina pool. But that's really about it, you guys. Like, there isn't much else about Berserker that's really a negative at this point. Berserker is really, really good, really in a good spot. S tier on a couple lists. I put him S tier on console, I put him A tier on PC. So yeah, man, that's Berserker. Let's go ahead and keep it moving with the DLC heroes. All right, so next up we got the Highlander, you guys. The Highlander, they got the big old hybrid with the big ass claymore. So let's go ahead and get into some of the Highlander's pros. All right, so breaking down Highlander, you got a couple things. You got high attack damage on his heavies. You got 45 damage on the top heavy out of neutral and defensive stance. And speaking of defensive stance, you got defensive stance hyper armored heavies. Moving towards offensive stance, you got those 400 ms lights coming from all three directions while in offensive stance. You got the offensive mix-up potential. You got the kick and the grab. You got the unblockable and the kick and the grab. You just got the grab. You got the kick. You got the regular unblockable letting it fly. You got all type of good mix-ups while in that offensive stance. And also while in that stance, you have really good dodge recovery. You have 400 ms dodge recovery, meaning that you can dodge around. You can play really defensive while in offensive stance, which is a thing in itself, a discussion among itself in the balance video. But nonetheless, you have the Celtic Curse mix up into offensive stance, giving you an easy way to enter the stance itself. You got crushing counters while in defensive stance from all three stances, all three directions. And of course, he has a static guard being a hybrid. And he is absolutely great. He is in a great position right now. Some say overpower, some say balance. Me, I say wait for my hybrid discussion video. Let's go ahead and get into the cons, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so when it comes to Highlander's cons, his defensive stand light attacks are very, very telegraphed, so you can easily parry them. They're 600 milliseconds from all sides, so they're really slow, they're really telegraphed. So I would suggest not really using them in tangent too much, not using them over and over again. And he also has a lower health pool of 125 HP. It's not the absolute lowest, but it's also not the highest. It's like lower middle of the pack. And he has a very weak guard break punish, being a light attack or a zone attack, which is kind of weak in itself. And his zone attack in itself is extremely weak. It's extremely slow as parry bait, and I wouldn't use it if I was you guys. But when it comes down to Highlander as a whole, his offensive stance is the name of his game. Like, once you get into offensive stance, and especially if you had a good distance, you can use that kick and the grab mix up, that unblockable and the kick and the grab mix up. There's so many different options that he has while in that offensive stance. So Highlander is very high tier in my opinion. S tier on console, A tier on PC. So let's go ahead and get into the last hero of the game. That is the Shaman, the last hero of the Vikings, I should say, my bad. And wrapping things up with the Shaman, we got the Shaman. Shaman was very controversial back in season 4 upon her release, but these days people aren't really tripping too hard on her. So let's go ahead and look at some of her pros, shall we? All right, so looking at Shaman's pros, first thing first, excellent soft feint mix-ups. I mean, she can feint heavies into bleed. She can feint heavies into guard breaks. It's excellent. I really love her mix-ups, man. Her soft feint mix-ups are incredible. She has true unblockable openers with her heavy finisher, her left heavy finisher being unblockable. She also has a bash that can guarantee a double light. She has a great deflect option that's going to go ahead and give her that bleed. So there go ahead, she goes into her bite mix-ups. She has feintable dodge heavies, her health stamina regen while the opponent is bleeding, and great zone attack mix-ups. Excellent damage from bite, 50 damage. Fast light attacks, like they only do 15 damage, but nonetheless they are fast and they come from 500 milliseconds from all directions. So Shaman she's pretty well equipped. Now let's go ahead and talk about those cons real quick, because she do got some cons. You know, Shaman isn't all invincible, you feel me? So looking at a few of her cons, she has pretty slow recovery on missed attacks. Like her missed bash is like a damn near guard break. She also has, like when she misses her bite, she can go into another bite, but if she chooses not to, she has pretty slow recovery. And she has a lot of heavy stamina uses. Like for instance, her side heavy unblockable finisher, if you parry that, she's almost always out of stamina. And of course, being an assassin, she has lower health pool at 120 health and a reflex guard. So you know, she definitely does have some cons, not as much as others, not as few as others, but nonetheless, I feel she's in a good spot on both PS4 console, I should say, and PC. You know what I'm talking about. So there you have it, you guys. This is part 1 of a 3-part series. Obviously, we started off with the Vikings first, so you guys let me know which one you want next, the Knights or the Samurai. And of course, I can't do Wu-lin until they drop, you know what I mean? And this video is for the newer players, because you know a lot of people have picked up the game over the past month with it being free on Steam, being free on Xbox, you know what I mean, games for gold. So I definitely want to give back to the newer community as they're growing, as they're learning the game, and do my part as a content creator, you feel me? So if you guys like, Truth, why are you making that? That's why, because I definitely want to give my part, give my pay dues, you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, if you guys got any tips or tricks for the new guys, go ahead, drop them down in the comment section, especially if it's on the Vikings, seeing that this video was on Vikings. Go ahead, drop that down in the comment section. Those dope ass comments will be getting hearts by me, because I want the new players to see them so they can get better at the game, so we can see them on the battlefield one day, you know what I'm talking about? The rookies making it up to the major leagues, you feel me? So once again, my name is Illish Truth, and I'll catch you guys in the next video, man. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to drop a like, be sure to subscribe if you're new, all that good shit, turn on post notifications for the kid if you want to show that true Ill Nation support. I very much appreciate you guys, but until then, I'll catch you guys in the next video, man. Peace to the world, peace to the earth. We are out, ladies and gentlemen. Love y'all, man. That's a wrap. Peace, y'all. We out.